see the dumb stuff that humans do, but we can't find any dumb stuff to watch.
Oh, I got you covered.
Is your name Vincent, Shadow?
It is.
Are you the Vincent I talked about in my original video?
I will admit to not having watched it, so possibly.
Are you Red's Rhetoric, Vincent?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, okay, you was the one I... do you want to go into a bit of that history? Because I want to know a bit about...
What would you like to know?
I want to know a bit about the whole did Reds fuck you over for rent and stuff, because in my video I had screenshots of PayPal and things that came from Reds. I can re-grab that out for you if you want. And it's indicated Reds that did pay you, and he paid you more than he needed to sometimes.
He did pay me. He did pay me extra some time.
Avoided making this video as much as I could, but I can't no longer. I have to address this issue. I made a video addressing some of the things that were going on, clarifying some things, but I didn't get into many details. And I thought that would be enough. I wouldn't have to talk about it anymore because I didn't want to. But that is not something I can run away from anymore. There are some issues that I need to clarify, that I need to talk about. I am not making this video to throw shade at another creator or to attack another creator. This video is a self-reflection. It's about the mistakes that I made and correcting some of them and clarifying some of the things that happened. Everything that I did, everything that I said, the bad decisions that I make, I take full responsibility for. I wasn't blackmailed, no one put a gun in my head. I just want to make that clear so people don't think that I am trying to put responsibility on some...
They got rid of the Golden 13.
Well, the MCPON had issues because they put an asshole into the position who made it to where all of the support staff who actually helped the position do what it was supposed to do all fucking quit and took early transfers out of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The day after you do your 13th graduation, that's when you usually use the payment set to where your family at taking into town.
Well, is it Friday? I think it's Friday, and I just feel like doing a little bit of a stream. There's some drama afoot, but it's not anything major, I suppose. Just more elaboration on the some of the things that happened in the past, and I think it builds a little more of a explanation of things. I don't know. You'll have to wait and see as time goes here. But one thing I think that we'll see is maybe a little bit to explain some of the insanity that's afoot when it comes to the GoFundMe campaigns. That's really the last part, I think, of my Truth of Non Sequitur, Truth of the Great Debate Community, what happened to the Great Debate Community video I'll be putting together as soon as I get back. Whoa! I gotta fix my green screen. It looks horrible. As soon as I get back from some family stuff I'm doing this weekend, I'll be getting those videos done because I want... Oh my goodness, my green screen's screwed. It's just screwed. Oh, I know what's wrong. Oh, there it is. Damn, it was just one little tiny thing and it's all fixed up. When I get back this weekend, I'm going to get these videos done. The Truth of the Non Sequitur show and the Great Debate video. I'm going to do the Great Debate video first because I think it, for one, it came first. It explains a lot. And then also... we don't have the court ruling yet. If the court ruling comes, if it comes out that they're going to have to do a new court case, I swear to God, dude, I'm not paying attention. I'm going to wait until it's over and then talk about it. I'm not giving this bullshit I'm not giving it another round. We've been sitting here thinking this thing would be over for so long, and it's dragged out this whole time, and I'm sick of it. It's boring. It's locking us into a repeat cycle, and I don't want to start the decade this way. I want to start this new decade on a good foot. I want to go somewhere where we can, okay, there, you know, the bubble that they exist in, the people who we just saw, they do things that will never let them ascend. They do things that will never let them get bigger, bring in a bigger community, because a big group of people do not agree with the things that these guys do, and therefore it holds people back. That's something that Sarah Michelle said perfectly in her video. SJW Boomer exposed the problem with Steve McRae. Now, I want to watch it here with you, but it doesn't have a lot of views, and I want to help it gain views. I don't want to take from it. So I'm going to only play a couple segments from this video, but I really hope you guys, and I'll drop the link in the chat right now, and I will tweet. I've already tweeted it on my timeline. So I hope what you guys will do is do me a favor and go help Sarah Michelle get some views on this by going to @UniRockTV on Twitter and sharing it out, watching it, clicking it, you know, hearing what she has to say, because it's a good explanation from her perspective on what happened and what went wrong. But what really matters here, inside the Great Debate community, I was thinking about going live. And I'm really not in the mindset to really do a show, you know. I still am a little depressed. I'm a little bit, you know, not dreading some of the things that are coming up here. So I didn't want to do a show. But when all this came in, I knew that ignoring it would just suck. So let's get this out of the way. Let's get the Great Debate community thing out of the way. I don't know what Derek Raw did, but it looks like a non-sec Boomerian Rhapsody. And does this have copyrighted music in it? Because I really want to play it. We'll see. And then here's the main thing for tonight. You know that I've been looking into the GoFundMe campaigns that this group has been putting on, because I think it has something to do with the way they look at their community and the reason why they treat other creators like they do, as in the harassment campaigns, the doxings, and all that. You know, you got Rhetoric, who works at, who has a very low-paying job, and he tries to tell people that he has a better high-paying job. So I think that he can continue doing GoFundMe campaigns, and so that he can kind of like get a bunch of money coming in since he doesn't make a good wage. But that's just my opinion. We will have an elaborate discussion, elaborate thing to listen to, because today, the Great Debate community had one of Rhetoric's old friends pop in and drop an entire, Demi just interviewed for an hour or so. And I can't wait to hear it, because there's a lot in here about money. There's a lot in here about like the GoFundMe, there's a little bit of explanation for some of the GoFundMe campaigns inside this stream. And I think that once we get the answer to that, we don't want answers from them. These guys still think that they have some kind of credibility. They still think that that people will listen to their words, their explanation for something, and walk away saying, oh, we get it. We want evidence. We want what could be showed as truth, because you guys have already abused our trust to this point. I'm speaking of maybe how some of them have reacted to what's going on, whether publicly or not, or just trying to message me. But one thing is for sure, I just want to know what really happened. If these guys want to stand up and tell the truth and say, yes, we've been using our community as a pocketbook, we've been abusing our community, lying to our community, schmoozing our community, basically treating our community like shit. Like, bro, I don't want to pay for your shit for this trip. Just go ask for a GoFundMe campaign and make up some tragedy, make up something you need to have a GoFundMe campaign for. Those types of things are revealed in this clip, Great Debate Community Open Livestream 8.1 from the Great Debate Community. The Great Debate Community that actually consists of the people that had been in the Great Debate Community for an exceptionally long period of time. I'm not talking about the imposter Great Debate Community that is ran by a certain McBoom who stole the name so that he could try to monetize it. Do I need to go into a speech on how all of this lines up? How Reds treats his audience, how Reds treats the people, how the others treat the people, how Steve thinks that, you know, he realizes the only way he's going to get a following is to try to take a brand that already exists, that is a community brand, and try to claim it as his own and take the trademark and monetize it, right? This whole concept is like permeated through these guys. It permeates throughout them. So I want to hear what's said here. I'm going to be chilling, so don't expect some big show. Again, I've been telling you guys all through the weekend. I said this back at the beginning of the week. All throughout the weekend, all throughout this 5-day period coming up, you're not going to get a bunch of big shows from me. You're just going to get me chilling, listening to some things, taking some stuff in, giving you an opinion here and there, playing some video games, relaxing. That's all you're going to get from me purposely. This is a break that I'm on. I'm just choosing to stream when I can while I'm on this break. I've already informed the peeps. I've already told the peeps we're not going to be having any big shows. We're not going to be like doing anything that's really huge that we've worked really hard on. And I've told the peeps, don't feel like you've got to pop in because we're just going to be chilling. So I hope you guys know that. I want to make sure everybody gets that. So we're going to be listening to this first. This is Great Debate Community, parenthesis, Open Livestream 8.1, number 8.1, Great Debate Community. This is the real one, not the one that was stolen by Boom Zoom. This is Rhetoric's buddy. I'm sure his name and all that will get brought up during this. This is a guy who used to hang out with all of them and help them with all of their garbage here that they do. And I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but he's going to give us what happened. So let's take a listen to this while I figure out what we are going to do while we listen. I'm probably not going to play video games for a little bit, but we need to hear this.
But he also cost me more money than he should have at times as well. Like when Sean Hufford and Hannah came to visit, and I had to be the one to go and pick them up from the airport. Not Hannah, because he did that, but he's the one that made Sean Hufford e-bag for a hotel room because he couldn't stay at his parents' house until Sean's plane landed. So then I had to call.
Okay. So Reds made Sean do a GoFundMe campaign for a hotel room because Reds didn't have any money, being not a plumber like he tells everybody he is. He tells everybody he's a plumber. He's not a plumber. So he doesn't have any money because he just, doesn't, like, what he tries to put out to everybody, like he's rich, has all this cash, and he's all stable and all that. It's just a complete fabrication. That's come forth in the last few weeks. But this is kind of weird. So he's saying that Sean and Hannah were coming down to stay, And Reds is like, no, I'm not letting you stay with me. Well, I don't have enough money for a hotel room. You said you'd let me stay with you. Sorry, go e-beg for a hotel room. And he did. Was there a GoFundMe for this, or was they just asked for money? Maybe one of you guys can tell me in the chat.
All off of work.
Yes, my dude Leroy. We're going to be streaming and chilling tonight. Don't expect a big production. Don't expect a big written thing. Don't think I've studied any of this and gotten a good response for you. I'm telling you ahead of time, so if you guys don't want to hang around for a non-show, I don't want to try to bait you in for a non-show. I want to make sure you know.
And borrow my roommate, our other roommates at the time, to drive the 2.5 hours to Tampa. That was $50 there. Then I had to go get Pew later that week because Red had promised these people that they could stay in my house. It's not like he asked if they could stay in my house. He had these plans, and so this is what was going to happen.
Wow, because I thought these guys were all like mature adults who have jobs and homes and cars and things and money, and they paid for their own stuff. They paid for their own production. They paid for their own thing, like Reds tries to pretend. And I thought they all did what they did, taking money here and there as a way to help others. I didn't know that they just did flippant things that were just very irresponsible, not planned out, not, and took advantage of other friends that they didn't respect, like the guy talking, and then take advantage of the audience and the people watching, trying to fool them into thinking that this is some big planned thing they put on so that they can basically just have some fun on another person's expense. Really scammy, if you ask me.
He caused me so much stress because bills were so tight that the police were called to my work while he was off and visiting his family in Tampa. The police showed up and escorted me out of the building, and I was placed on medical leave and missed 2 weeks of work until I could be cleared to go back to work.
Wow.
There were a few other things like that happened.
Oh, let's hear him,
and
big
so
guy.
When the GoFundMe was...
Oh my God, spilling the tea. No, Princess, he's talking about a roommate. He tricked me and I made a video defending him. Are you talking about Reds, Demi? You're talking about Reds tricked you, or did this guy trick you? Because he seems pretty cool right now. He's cool, right? Make sure, tell me if he's cool or not, Demi, because I don't want to treat him like he's cool if he's not cool. I'll go on the offensive quick. I'm just playing, by the way. I love long streams like this. Truth is, I hate when you play games with hell's loud gunshots. I like to listen and fall asleep at night on a long stream. Well, you know what I'll do for you, Angelique? I'll make sure to turn down the volume for the game because I don't know when it's loud for you guys and when it's not. Just let me know if you have any stream issues with the stream, and I will make sure that it is set for you guys so it works out. You got me? I will make it work for us. This is a team effort, so we got this.
It was put together taking...
Yeah, Reds... Okay, Anti-Ordinary said, yes, Reds Rhetoric. Got it. See, Reds did the same thing to me. You know what Reds did when he got mad at me? So, listen to what Reds did. Let me tell my little Reds Rhetoric story. I decided a few months ago that I was going to spend a couple months preparing to make edited videos again. Because I had stopped making edited videos and resigned to only doing live streams after YouTube screwed us over in the algorithm. Luckily, they have fixed the algorithm to a good extent. So I started making videos again. You know this because I've been uploading a lot of edited videos. I've kind of changed. My channel's made for live, but I switched to edited, right? So I had to go through a long process. Like I got to get a new I got a new hard drive, installed it, set up all my editing stuff. Well, anyway, while I'm doing all of this, I was in the preparatory phase. I was in the phase of prepping all the graphics, prepping all the templates so that I could edit videos a little quicker and do it high quality, right? And Red's Rhetoric would call me on the phone when I was or call me on Skype or call me on wherever while I was working. And I would think he was going to need something like... Okay, so here's an example. The last time I talked to him, it was late at night and I was streaming. And he said to me, I really have to talk to you. It's extremely important. And I said, well, I'm streaming right now. Like I stopped. I paused the stream, right? I did this. I paused the stream, played music, and wrote him back. And I said, bro, I'm a little busy right now. I'm in the middle of a stream. Can I hit you up after the stream? It'll be tomorrow, though, because I'm going to stream late. It was maybe 11 p.m., midnight. He says, yes. So the next day, I forget to get a hold of him. And here it comes getting later, and he calls me. He's like, hey, can I call you? I'm like, yeah, call me. I end up talking to him for like an hour and a half, an hour or something. The conversation basically was like this. I was going like, yeah. Oh, shit, bruh. What? No way, dude. Huh? Damn, bro. While he's talking to me for a straight hour, hour and a half. Now, this wasn't the only conversation that I had with Reds like this. It was probably the longest conversation. But Reds has called me I would say many times, but I'll be nice and say several times. And we've talked on the phone being a voice call of sorts, okay? Several times, as I'll say, not many. I would say many because in my opinion it is. But when he got mad at me the first time and I criticized him on my stream lightly like I did to McCrae, basically, I didn't even criticize him. I responded to him shit-talking me. But I did criticize him while doing it. He goes and tells everybody that I'm lying, that he's only ever spoke to me voice-to-voice one time. And I'm like, really, bro? You're gonna fucking, do you want to like, is that your final answer? Do you want to make that your final answer? Because it's bullshit. If I wanted to, I could drop evidence that that's not true. I could just drop Skype and other forms of communication that we've all had. It's just plain ridiculous. But what's the weird thing about this story and the reason I'm telling it to you? He called me and told me the most personal things. The most personal kind of and I didn't mind. I'm a nice dude. When I work with somebody online or when I talk to somebody, if they're having a problem and they need somebody to talk to and they can't get a hold of anyone else, I will. And I'll do this with my fans. I'll do this inside of Discord. I'll do this with a viewer. I'll do this with a hater. I'll sit down and have a conversation and give it as much time as humanly possible. I gave Reds like an hour and a half that day or an hour or some shit. I don't know how. It was really long, okay? Anyway, for him to just pretend like for him to just act like he didn't do it or that it was different than that is just so fucked. And it doesn't mean anything. It's like for nothing. It's like, bro, it doesn't favor you to tell the truth. It doesn't favor me if you tell the truth or lie. So what the hell's the issue here? And it's always bothered me. Why did he call me and have a conversation with me that was very personal, that was very intimate, not in a sexual way, but in a way where he let me know things about him that may be like embarrassing if he talked to just any stranger about that stuff. Now, I would never, even if I get super angry at him, I would never bring up the things he told me and the stuff we talked about. I'm talking like personal feelings about his girlfriend and this and that and the issues they're having and stuff. But listen, here's my point. I had to ask myself why he did that. And you know what I think? I think it might have been all bullshit. I think it might have been all bullshit. It might have been him trying to get close to me for some reason or to make me feel like I could trust him just by putting on this big old conversation, because honestly, I just couldn't put my finger on how weird it was and how out of reality it was in a normal context. Now, here's what I mean. Normally, when I talk to somebody, even if I don't know them, I wouldn't consider it weird for somebody to pour out their heart to me or pour out their soul to me. Very rare would it happen, but I wouldn't consider it weird. And I try to make sure I'm like as kind as humanly possible to people because I think that's how we should be to each other. But there was something funky about that conversation that it's hard to put my finger on that just made me come out of it feeling really weird. I remember telling Rachel, like, Red's just talked to me for like an hour or so. She's like, yeah? Because he'd never like done it that often. And I'm like, it's so crazy telling me about his girlfriend, telling me about these personal things. Now, the other conversations me and Reds have, let me give you an example of one of them. So I'm streaming, and this is back when I first discovered Dragnaut Silvus. Okay? Now, Like you guys know, Steve says all this stuff about Drag and Brody and everybody who he's mad at. And I first discover Nate Brody. And because I discovered Nate Brody, I discovered Dragnot. So he did his little thing where he shows me some clips, tells me they're trolls. He's like, dude, they're just trolls. They don't have any good information. Go check for yourself if you don't believe me. Well, it just so happened that while I'm streaming, Drag was attacking me, and I don't mind. I'm not mad at him. In fact, I'm kind of happy he did. It helped shake me out of the mindset of believing, just like Sarah Michelle said, and this is so fucking awesome that Sarah Michelle did this video. But just like Sarah Michelle said, Sarah was lending a portion of trust to Steve without even realizing it. So Reds calls me up, and like I'm streaming on Unirock 2 to like 400, 500 people, and my Skype starts blowing up, and I'm like, yo, what's up, bro? And guess who it is? Red's Rhetoric. So he wants me to mute my shit, and you can still go find this stream where I tell everybody, oop, hold on, guys, I'm having an issue. I need to mute for a minute. I mute because I had to make it dead silent to talk to him. I can't play music and then play that audio because you'll hear that audio and you'll hear their voice. So I had to cut all audio, and it's still in one of my streams, for a good freaking 10 minutes while Reds tells me something about how Dreadnought has a thing that is completely contradictory to the point he's making about Cheshire. And when it was all said and done, like I get done talking to him, I unmute, and I'm like, sorry guys, I'm back. I had something happen, you know, like I didn't tell people who called or why, because why? He told me he said, don't you tell anybody that I'm talking to you right now. We've had conversations where he tells me not to tell anybody that he's talking to me right now several times alone, conversations like that. So how is it even humanly possible that we only talked one time on the phone, like he said? So dumb. But that's not the point. The point is, when he would do those little things, like he would give me these tiny tidbits of information that were like his arguments, that were like his, I'm going to win the debate with Dreadnought while Uni's attacking, while Dreadnought and Uni are arguing, because I'm going to give Unirock something that he could never know that would counter Drag in his argument against Cheshire. And it didn't even counter the argument. It was basically like Drag's calling Cheshire ugly, but Drag used to date somebody that kind of looked like Cheshire in the past. Such a crazy argument. It was dumb. It was dramatic. There was a shit ton of people watching, and I didn't care. Because I'm like, if they're still watching, they must like it. So I didn't mind. Now, I don't like those kind of shit shows. I don't like being dubious with the audience. I like being upfront. I want to tell you, yo, this person just called. But then again, I do respect anonymity to an extent. But when it's another creator who's basically has the knowledge that I don't have because they've experienced it, to feed me the info, to have me argue with Drag when I'm not even trying to argue with Drag, I just got dragged into this because Steve McRae told me Drag was a troll, showed me some clips of Drag trolling Steve, which Drag will admit he's trolled Steve, and I don't think he'd get mad at me for saying that. But anyway, you get where I'm coming from there. Now the last thing I'll say before we get back to this, why is that so weird? Well, what's weird is that it's so easy for Reds just to say, I barely talked to Unirock. I only talked to him on the phone one time, and do, and just try to just shit on me after having such a weirdly intimate conversation not long before, right? Like, when you do have typically normal human beings, when they have a conversation with another human being and they pour their heart and soul out, or they tell them things that they normally don't talk about publicly, or they tell them things that could even be seen as a little embarrassing if other people knew about it, that weren't like prepped with everything that happened, you'd think there would be a little bit of a bond there. You'd think there'd be a little bit of a, this person was kind enough to stop work for 2 hours or an hour and 15 minutes, whatever it was, and actually hear me out, let me pour out my heart and soul, thanks for listening, I feel better, and stuff like that. And you get me? It just seems like it was all fake since he was just so easy. Now here's the other part of it, and I'm going to go ahead and rant really quick for like another 30 seconds. This is the other part of it that really gets me. You guys remember that when me and Steve initially had the issue, I wasn't going at Steve. He was going at me, but I wasn't going at him. And I was making every excuse in the book, like, dude, he just had a literal boomer mind break. Like, he's just losing his boomer mind. Like, he'll get his mind back in a couple days. He just needs some sleep. He's just cracked out or something, right? I made every excuse in the book for like the first 4 days or 3 days or whatever it was that he was attacking me, or 2 days. I don't remember. You have to go look. Anyway, now you remember that Reds and Cheshire both approached me to try to get me to be talked down, to try to talk me down. Now, when Cheshire talked to me, she tried to bullshit me. It's recorded. It's on my D-Live channel. She comes to talk to me literally after all that happened. I give her hard evidence that Steve is actively lying about me. She basically just doesn't care. She just can't hear it. I'm like, I've got evidence, Cheshire. She's like, no, you're just seeing it the wrong way. Cheshire, here's the evidence. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to pull it up. Show her the evidence. You're just not seeing it the correct way, Uni. He's not lying about you. In his perspective, he's telling you how he feels. And I'm like, motherfucker, he's lying about me. But then when I went and talked to Reds, I understood what was happening. Reds was doing what he's done the whole time. What I learned long later, that he does very dishonest, very bullshit damage control. You get me? For McCrae. And he, in order to do that damage control for McCrae, he needed to have me call into his show, and then he had to try to get one over on me. Now, that conversation ended up making Steve look horrible, and it ended up making Reds look like a flat earther. But still, the point is, he tried to one-up me and treat me like a flat earther and try to be like the smarter than me guy and like do some weird mental gymnastics on me through that conversation on his channel. Why am I bringing all this up? Why does it all matter to what we're talking about tonight? He literally did this after, if I can only say, pretending or attempting to pretend to try to get a relationship going with me by speaking to me when I'm editing videos, giving me these long, drawn-out stories about his personal life and how he feels about things, which is such a strange dichotomy. When, now that I'm thinking back on it, I do have to ask myself, is the dude just a really good liar, or is he a hardcore narcissist? Which is it?
Taking all those things into consideration to help me catch up on the bills that I had come out of pocket for.
I feel really bad for this guy, too, because I bet he's the type of guy that does anything for his friends. At least that's what it sounds like right now. He does, like, this guy sounds like he'll do anything for his friends, and it sounds like he bumped into some really bad narcissists that took advantage of him.
To cover for his mistakes, because it's not like he was paying me for gas to go do all this extra stuff for him, or paying me for the time that I missed work. So yeah, he did end up paying me, I think it was an extra in total $500, but that's what I spent. And then there were late fees from the bank on top of that because my accounts were overdrawn.
Yeah, I don't think 500 even equates to some of the stuff you described, but maybe it does. Mother of Dragons just said, oh my God, did you hear Reds tell JM Truth that he wants him to give a groveling apology about being wrong and saying his rocket launch is CGI? See, this is why Reds can't criticize flat earthers anymore. By the time I get done with Reds' rhetoric, and I get done showing through his own words and actions who he really is and how he acts on the internet, I mean, of course, who he is on the internet, the scammer, not the guy he pretends to be, I'm going to show everybody that he doesn't have a right to even criticize flat earthers. He gets away with being this, like, high-tier scammer. He gets away with being this high-tier liar and manipulator because all he does is criticize flat earthers, so anybody can do that. Hell, somebody on death row could criticize a flat earther. That's how bad those flatties are. No, it's not. No, it's not. Now, a flatty that's scamming is bad, but a regular flat earther is not as bad as somebody that's ripping off other people. A regular flat earther is not as bad as somebody that's lying to other people, because flat earther viewers, flat earther people, flat earther content creators that aren't trying to go out and, shit on other people, they're just representing their opinion. They are much better than somebody like Red's Rhetoric who goes around lying, skeezing, and scamming. You can't, just like I said in my last edited video here on rockAlot, where I'm yelling at Busy like, I can't understand you, crackhead. You can't criticize a flatty if you're a damn con artist like that. And there's no doubt at this point that Reds is a con artist. For God's sakes, people started looking at what he acts like I was the one orchestrating the whole GoFundMe investigation. I wasn't. Other people will back me up on this. It didn't even start in my Discord server. It didn't even start on my Discord. It came from other Discord servers. Oh shit, I gotta pull up my Streamlabs before I forget. Other people on other Discord servers were already looking into their GoFundMe campaigns. So Reds felt that since I was the one talking about it, it was some kind of equal thing. It's like equal. Hey, Uni's talking about it, so it's okay if we just treat it like very flippantly and shit on everybody that donated to us and shit on everybody about these GoFundMe campaigns and treat it like we treated it, like Reds treated it, by going live the next day begging for $500 for a camera mount in the face of being called a scammer with hard evidence over his past GoFundMe campaign. Doing that, he thought would shit on me. He thought it would make me look bad. Ha, I can go live and take $500. But what I haven't had anyone tell me exactly what happened, but the rumor about what happened, now I could have this all wrong. I'm telling you it's a rumor because I haven't had time to look myself. But I've been told that he didn't get a lot of donations during that $500 stream. And then Sean Hufford, for some reason, had to get the donations or give the donation. I could be wrong there. His audience could have gave him $1 million for all I know. Anyway, though, my point is, you can't criticize a flat earther. Even if he says your rocket launch is CGI there, big guy, you can't criticize a flat earther if you are a scammer, if you are a con artist. And I'm sorry to say it, my dude. You're a scamming con artist, Red's Rhetoric. You are a scamming con artist, and people are going to call you out. You're like, oh, who cares if Uni calls me out? Our audience is already prepped against Unirock and his damn evidence. I'm going to tell you, man, eventually other people are going to start calling you guys out. It is going to happen for things like this, Reds. Take a listen to this for 2 seconds.
What is the easiest thing that you can do on the YouTube landscape? Debunk flat earthers? Yeah, and it's fun, too. You can have a ball debunking flatties online. We've all done it once or twice, haven't we, Busy?
Yeah.
What happens when the debunkers themselves end up scamming their community?
Oh no.
Would the other debunkers call them out? Can they call out their own? Or is there an unwritten rule that flatty debunkers have to keep their mouths shut? Well, except for when the flatties do it.
Yeah, that's right. The other debunkers in the community, even though their community is the one being abused by Red's Rhetoric and his friends, they got to keep their mouths shut, except when JM Truth pisses them off by saying a rocket launch is CGI. What is worse, guys? What's worse? Is it worse for Reds and all these guys to do this many GoFundMe campaigns? You got to look behind the Grinch. This many GoFundMe campaigns that total $50,000 where they asked for $100,000. This is all sourced. This is all real. This is all accompanied by YouTube links so you can go see every one of them for yourself. Hear every one of them with your own ears. And I'm not saying every one of these are bad. I'm saying the ones that Marvel Girl, Steve McRae, Sean Hufford, Red's Rhetoric, AT2 Production, and Ansgar are the ones that are bad and rude. But anyway, one more time, get that last part out.
Bunkers have to keep their mouths shut. Well, except for when the flatties do it.
If JM Truth decides he wants to say your rocket launch is all CGI, what damage does that do? Do I really need to break this down, Reds? Everybody else, do I need to break this down? What kind of damage does it do for JM Truth to say that it's CGI? He makes himself look dumb. he does something that is funny in the realm of if you do a good commentary video or a good live stream and include it, it would make JM look funny. It'd be worth a good laugh. I enjoy it. It's something crazy that somebody says. It's something silly, right? I would put it in the realm of silly. You get me? Your rocket launch was CGI and NASA is trying to hide the truth. That is silly. You guys doing this is criminal to an extent. It is literally criminal. It's fraud almost. You know how Steve was so mad when somebody said he perpetrated fraud? How would we ever have known that he would eventually be proven to have done it? My point is, you can't criticize Flatties after this stuff comes out. Now, that's after this comes out. We're not even talking about once he decides to go live the next day asking for another $500. Then we find out he's been lying about his occupation to make it look like he makes more money than he really does, so people won't say that he is a broke guy doing this for money. He makes pretty damn close to minimum wage or minimum wage, according to the people that are close to him. So you get where I'm saying here? There's a lot of mismatched weirdness going on. Could it be that he's lying about his occupation because the occupation that he named makes good money and the occupation that he has in real life doesn't? Could it be that if somebody realizes he's not a plumber and he's not making good money, they might start to entertain that he's a broke dude that likes to get money from the community through Sean Hufford, AT2 Productions, and Steve McRae all the time? Could it be that literally everybody that's been donating money to these guys are being conned by the worst kind of freaking cons out there by lying about all of this? Now, their defense mechanism is going to be, I never said that I was a plumber right now, when you know he definitely did, and he heavily implied it, and he let people think that. What about going get live the next day and pulling all these up? What about pulling up every one of the fundraisers you had anything to do with? See, they think they can respond to me by being, by putting me down, by insulting me. Do that all you want. It only makes you guys look bad, like I always say. Unless you do it really funny, it makes you look bad. That's why I can do it to Steve. It's really funny, and it really triggers him when I call him a Grinch. Because he knows that his body... Have you ever seen Jim Carrey in a Grinch uniform? This is why it's okay for me to do this. Have you ever seen Jim Carrey in the Grinch outfit? If you look really close to Jim Carrey in the Grinch outfit... Wait, let me find a full body shot here. Let me find a full body Grinch shot. If you look really close to Jim Carrey inside this thing, now, then if you look at the cartoon Grinch, right after you look at that, well, hold up. Cartoon Grinch. Here we go. Oh, yeah, there it is. If you look at the cartoon Grinch, tell me that's not Steve McRae. Tell me that's not him. That's why he gets so mad about this, because he knows how real it really is with linking to reality, that it makes it funny for me to say this. You guys saying that putting me down and giving me all the insults you give me over me busting you on your GoFundMe bullshit, it's not funny, it's not comedic, it just makes you look like dicks, because you are dicks. One more time, though. Well, let me just go ahead and keep the conversation moving by playing the next little part really fast, but then I'm going to get out of this and go back to the original video we're looking at. An interesting thing has happened recently. Rhetoric and Steve McRae came under fire for some of the lies they told about the Non Sequitur show breaking up. So, those that had donated to Steve and Reds decided to look closer at the fundraisers that they had. Like the Christmas fundraiser Steve did that ended up being predicated on a lie. That's right, Busy. Predicated on a lie. Predicated on a lie. After Steve stole Christmas with the scam fundraiser, he became known as the Grinch. And everybody knows that a Grinch doesn't just steal Christmas. So a group of rogue donators went off on their own and started... Exactly. Plumbers do make decent money. It's a good trade. Anybody who's a plumber should be proud. But also, anybody that works any job at all should be proud. Anybody that goes to work every day, does what they're supposed to do, gets off of work, earns their free time, right? Whether you're retired from a job, whether you're disabled from a job, as long as you went out there and you did your thing, you should be proud of yourself. even if it's a McDonald's job or a minimum wage job or a digging a ditch, doing labor, physical labor, you should be proud of yourself. But though, one thing here is, the more you look into the lies around these guys, you notice it creates a false dichotomy. It creates a false image, a false, mask, an act. Oh my God, there it is the whole time. There's the body. There's the Grinchy body. It matches with reality so perfectly. It creates the image that they don't have to ask for money. Reds has race cars. Reds is rich. Reds has nice vehicles. Reds is a rich guy. He's not. He's really not. He's not well off. He has literally told people that he's well off. He has acted like he's well off. I don't need to do these GoFundMe campaigns. I'm well off. He wouldn't be able to do what he does on YouTube if it wasn't for the GoFundMe campaigns yet. He's somehow more well off. These GoFundMe campaigns are just an anomaly. They were just some, thing we did because we had to do them. They needed to happen, right? But now we're finding out through this video, if it'll come up, hold up, that there wasn't just a community that was scammed. It sounds like Red's own friends were being scammed, were being used, were being the ones. So it's like, where does all the money go if there's a guy driving? Where does all the money go if there's a guy letting people stay in his house? Where does all the money go if you're not paying for gas, if the GoFundMe money or the money you take in for the project isn't being paid for gas, if all the things you're doing is footed by somebody else, but then on top of that, you've got a friend who's going to pay for everything else himself, where did that money go, right? What is it, muted? No, they're just not talking.
Oh, sorry,
okay.
I was muted. That was embarrassing.
Oh, she was muted. Okay.
Thank you. So, in my video, I quote Reds as saying that you shared an original place of work, and that Reds claim.
What video is this? I need this anti-ordinary video. Is this a new video, or is this one of Anti's old videos? Because I want to see it. I probably haven't seen this. Me and Anti-Ordinary, we do some of the same freaking content. I swear to God. The same kind of content. Same kind.
You went into that place of work and divulged personal information about his private mental health. That was lies.
No, there weren't any lies.
Did you?
Hey, can one of you guys please grab me the link that Demi keeps talking about so we can pull it up and skip through it here in a minute? If you guys have time. No worries if you don't. If you're in my Discord and you have the link, put it in current live stream.
Did he divulge?
Did I divulge information about what was going on at our house when my supervisors and such asked me? Yeah. Because they asked me what was going on in our household. And I can't not tell my supervisor, look, here's what's going on. Here's this dude who's coming into work every day, who's crying at his desk, who's not talking to anybody, who people can see is visibly disturbed. But I'm letting you know he's okay. We're doing what we can to get these things taken care of.
Who is he talking about? Who is this guy talking about?
I spent more time trying to justify, him being okay than I did telling them anything.
Oh, he's talking about Reds. You're saying Reds sat and cried at his desk every day?
Thing that was. At one point, I may have said that, I had confiscated his firearm because he gave it to me. Because he told me himself that he felt like eating a bullet.
Yeesh. Wow.
So how did he find out about that? How did it all go off?
The last straw was we would share a car to work, and a week before he decided he was moving out, we had a conversation, and he point blank told me to my face that he didn't know he could trust me.
Okay. This is getting really fucking, heated, dude. This is getting psycho. I feel like I'm about to be listening to a murder mystery here in a minute, dude. This is getting intense.
So during that next week, on the Tuesday, while he was out of town, he did a flat Earth debate. Well, he and Hana had broken up at the time, and she was across the planet in Japan on a trip that she had been planning for years, trying to have a good time. And she showed up in the live chat of this flat Earth debate and said something. So after the debate, he lost his mind and called her on the phone.
Oh, fuck.
And had hours. I don't know exactly how long the conversation was. I know it was over Wi-Fi. I assume it was long. And I get...
Oh, so he does these kind of phone calls where he calls and pours his life and heart out to people often. This isn't some rare thing that, like, Uni's just making up and lying about, Reds. Oh, good. Got it.
At 3 in the morning, while I was half asleep, I get a bunch of Discord messages from Hana. And
yes, this is Red's old roommate or flatmate if you're from Egypt. Where do they say flat at? See, I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at international relations. This is why I'm not an ambassador. This is his roommate or his flatmate, Reds, discussing all the things Reds did to con him out of money, screw him out of money, and bullshit him and narcissistically manipulate him because Reds is a diagnosed narcissist, according to Reds.
And then I get phone calls from other people, and I woke up.
He can't deny that, by the way. He knows he told many people that he is a diagnosed cluster B narcissist. He said it. Not other people, he did.
And then I get into a call with Hana, and she tells me that Red has essentially told her that his Ruger was looking friendly.
Oh, in Europe. Okay, all of Europe does the whole... Okay, flat is all... Okay, got it. Damn, now I sound dumb.
And basically insinuating that he would eat a... I had given him back his firearm. It was in his room. So she asked me to confiscate his firearm so that he didn't harm himself, even though he wasn't home. So I did.
Well, you're a good friend, my dude.
We went to work that Wednesday night, and I hadn't, with everything going on and Reds having shown up 5 minutes before we needed to leave for work, I didn't have a chance to tell him, hey, I confiscated your gun, but seeing your state of mind right now, I will give that back to you when we get back to the house, or just give it to him when he walked in the door, which is not something you generally do when your roommate comes home. Hey, here's your gun back.
Here's your weapon, psycho. Sorry, in the military, they train us to call a gun a weapon, so you'll hear me do that all the time. It's just an old habit.
And we'd gone through the drive-thru at McDonald's, gotten something to eat. We were eating in the break room right before work. And I told him, hey, when we get back to the house, because I had gotten phone calls, I took your gun, I'll make sure you get it back, because it's obviously you're not in a bad spot. And
I want to interview with this dude. I want to jump into the GDC live while he's there sometime. It'd be fun.
Because I tried to do
I got so many questions.
Do this as privately as possible, he looked at me kind of funny, and as I was ending the statement, a coworker that he had been confiding in and gaslighting to have a bad opinion of me came into the room and overheard at least part of the statement.
Ooh.
And so he felt like I was outing publicly that, he may be suicidal, which is not what I was trying to do. So, drove home that morning on Thursday.
McDonald's is the burger place of choice for the cluster B.
They dropped me at the house. He took this other girl home. He came back. He demanded his firearm, which I promptly gave him.
I wouldn't have given it to him. I would have called the cops. I would have said, "You're too crazy for a gun there, Reds. You're crazy." Do you guys know what red line means? Remember his original name, Redline? You know what it means? You want to know the real definition of what redlining is? You don't, do you? You know it'll be real bad if I type it into Google right now. You know it'll send shivers down your spine if I type it in. You don't want me to do it. You don't want me to tell you the truth about what Rhetoric's original channel name really means, do you? Too bad, I'm doing it right now. Got it, Navy. Thank you, my dude. I'll get it in just a minute. I will get it in just a minute. So, all right. So, redlining, Rhetoric's original channel name is to... In the United States and Canada, redlining is the systematic denial of various services to the residents of specific racially associated neighborhoods or communities, either directly or through selective raising of prices. Neighborhoods with a high proportion of minority residents are more likely to be redlined than other neighborhoods with similar household incomes, housing age and type, and other determinants of risk, but different racial composition. So when a certain neighborhood has to pay more money based on, now this is from back in the day. This is like back in the 50s or the 40s or the 60s or something. Then they talk about reverse redlining. It occurs when a lender or insurer targets particular neighborhoods that are predominantly non-white, not to deny residents loans or insurance, but rather to charge them more than a non-redlined neighborhood where there's more competition. It's like racism put into a shiny red line. I'm not making that up.
He looked me dead in the face and said, I don't think I can trust you.
It's redlining is racial segregation, then targeting the racial segregation with increased prices for services, land, renting things. That's what redlining is. When I heard that, my Busy literally did a backflip out of his crack pipe. Okay, like he was sitting there smoking it nonchalant and chill. Soon as I read the definition to Busy out loud, he went doink and did like 4 backflips. Yeah, that's how shocking it was. Because then so many questions come up in your head. So many things rush through your mind after you read that.
I looked him dead in the face and I said, I thought we were already past that
because I would never name my channel Redline. I would never call myself Redline. It's not cool. Doesn't make sense. Like, I'm a line and I'm red. You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense.
He had told me the week before that he couldn't trust me. And then 3 days...
Why, you're welcome, Bob Sr. I'm full of knowledge. I'm so full of knowledge, it hurts.
Days later, he moved out of my house without speaking one word to me.
That's what you call a scammer. What's his name? Shadow? You see, after Red stuck this guy with a shit ton of money from driving places, buying things, after the dude did every single thing in his power to try to help Reds and even spend himself broke doing it, Red said, oh, you're broke? I can't get any more money out of you. You're not going to keep paying the rent. You're not going to keep taking me to work. You're not going to keep picking up my internet rip-off con artist friends from the airport. You're not going to let them stay at your house, even though I didn't ask you to do it, and you don't know these people at all. And for all you know, they could be con artists and thieves. Well, now that you're done giving me all of these things, I'm Audi 5000. Bye. Don't trip over the red line.
So do you think you crossed the line at all, or do you think you were right?
Do you think you crossed the red line?
Did you feel genuine concern to share that information, or do you think how you approached the situation was correct?
Well, you could say that, I suppose. You could say that. Maybe 1 in 1.6 million people know that redlining has to do with cars, I think. Maybe, yeah.
Do I feel that I may have made some mistakes in the way that I handled things? There may have been some mistakes made, but there were also the mistakes that, I made that I own. Do I feel justified in the fact that, I was doing the right thing at that time? Yeah. In hindsight, there may have been some mistakes, but at that time, everything, given the information I had to work with.
Brah, nobody's perfect, man. All we can ever do is do the best we can at the time. Try not to be selfish, but do not let ourselves be taken advantage of. And just do what we can, bruh. Don't hate yourself. You did everything you could. You're good.
This was the right.
Jesus, primarily on a Sunday. What was that?
Y'all just heard my headset drop. Sorry, I got warnings about a buzz and I'm trying to sort that out. Is it still there? Okay.
The buzz is gone, but now my ears are ringing from the loud noise I just heard.
Alright, let's hope.
That was loud, y'all.
And sorry, what did you say? You said at the time you think you did the right thing.
Here in Indianapolis, Red Line is an energy drink. Is it racist, though? Is it a racist energy drink? I'm just asking. Why would they name it that? I would type it into Google before I named my product that shit. Bad question. Was that a bad question?
What do you think that information you would have liked to
Busy doesn't think it was a bad question, so we're good.
have at the time?
Actually, Busy, you should just take the opposite of whatever Busy says as reality, just so you know. You wish, Jimmy. You wish, my dude.
Oh, sorry, wait a second.
I don't
Sorry,
ever
I
stop at the
didn't
bull.
actually correct that, and I'm such a fucking idiot. So let me take that from
Some information just off of somebody else.
correctly at the time.
Yeah, I do. But see, the other problem is that at the same time that all this was happening, Red was talking to other people and getting advice and or gaslighting them, his version of things.
Ooh, he was gaslighting them. Do you know what gaslighting is, my friends? Because I'm an expert in the definitions of things that have to do with philosophy and mental health. I'm an expert. I have a qualification to be able to describe this online without people being able to criticize me for it. I went to nuke school. Gaslighting is basically making somebody question their own memory or their own sanity through taking something that everybody knows happened one way, but deliberately describing it a different way. I call that lying. So lying, gaslighting could kind of go hand in hand, but there's one difference when it comes to gaslighting, and that is where you're intentionally doing it to make that person question their quote-unquote sanity in the definition. Now, you can't just take it as if they're trying to drive people crazy by giving the wrong definition, because that's not just it. They're trying to make you crazy about that event. They're trying to make you question that event, right? It's like telling a lie about something that you think you can purposely get away with changing history on, or fitting everything to your mold, to your story. It's pathologically lying about something. It is what pathological liars do, what supreme narcissist, psychological manipulators, and sociopaths do to be able to enact their manipulation upon people. It's one of their tactics.
Because everything that he tells people is always somebody else's fault.
Well, I didn't say it. He said it. I didn't say it.
So he was giving information to people, and they were giving him advice and information just off of his story and not looking for objective facts.
Well, that's describing their entire following at this point. I'm sorry, I'm not being mean. I'm just saying it's true. That's what they do.
Which is why when things went really south, nobody talked to me at all.
Don't worry, Shadow. Their tactics, what they are, has now been revealed to the greater internet community. And now 90% of the people out there know what these guys are. The other 10% are progressively finding out more and more.
The only people that actually talked to me were people that Red had cut ties with. So that's why Drag and Sam and Sokka and people like that know more about this stuff, because they were in off-air hangouts when Red sent me like a demand for an apology with a countdown timer, trying to blackmail me to apologize for things I didn't feel the need to apologize for, and I still don't.
And what was that? What was he expecting the apology for?
Well, he said lying about him. Just blatantly lying about him in public.
Hold up. Whoa. 10 seconds back. 10 seconds back. 15
still
back.
Don't.
And what was that? What was he expecting the apology for?
Well, he said lying about him. Just blatantly lying about him in public. Which I've never done.
So he says to me that the blatant lying was that he wasn't in a negative mental health position and that you were just saying that to smear him.
Oh, okay. So he wasn't the guy who was coming to work shaking visibly and that other people were obviously worried about, because if I have to go track those people the fuck down to drag them onto the fucking internet, I probably will at this point, considering a lot of them still live in here. If I have to get on air tonight and grab my roommate who lived with us at the time, who could see his fucking state of being, I'll do it.
Do it. I think he should do it. But
yeah,
all I'm
Demi,
taking is from...
Fuck yeah, Demi. Demi is good at this, dude. Demi is good at interviewing, at getting the information we need. Demi is good at this.
Red's Rhetoric position. When I made my video, I was isolated from talking to everyone, so all I had was Red's Rhetoric's version of events, and so in that version of events he recalls it as essentially you just being a malicious roommate.
Do I sound like I'm malicious?
Well, I wouldn't be able to judge off of this interaction.
Well, no, I'm asking as in general as a person. Like, if you talk to anybody that knows me,
no.
Do I sound like a malicious person?
No, but
No.
The reason that I haven't spoken out against Red for over 2 years now is because I'm not a malicious person. Because I felt the vile and terrible things that he said about me would speak more to his character than it would about me if I simply fought back. Because I don't have a platform.
Okay, so Demi, Anti-Ordinary, is going to jump in with me in just a few minutes and tell us about the other video where we get more of a backstory to what's going on here, I believe. We get more of an explanation of what's going on here. So Anti-Ordinary is going to jump into voice with us, give us a brief on this video that's coming up that we're going to play after this. Then we're going to play that video and skip through it and get the gist of the rest of the story. Get me? So if you're a little lost, I am too, but we're getting caught up on it. Let me tell you what's going on. Let me get you caught up with what we're doing here. Let me tell you what my thoughts are. Then we'll pull Demi in. We'll hear what Demi has to say. Anti-Ordinary, YouTube. Then I don't want to say any. I don't want to say that she's Queen Demi of the GDC, because then it'll sound like King Steve of the GDC. But the leader. How about leader? How about the organizer of the new GDC? Perfect. The organizer of the new GDC, Anti-Ordinary, will jump in, give us a brief, catch us up. We got another video. Let me tell you where we're at right now so that everybody's on the same page. Tonight, 2/21 of 2020, it's 10:30 on the East Coast of the glorious United States of America. As always, wherever you're from is glorious too. I love the people everywhere I've been, and I've been many, many places. Thank you all for spending tonight with us. The place where you get the good tea and the good content. The place where you get to see the boomers exposed. This is... You got anything, Busy? Okay, crack, I get it. Uni Rock Live. So let me give you guys a little bit of a brief of what we're talking about tonight, just so everybody's caught up. Then let's get Demi into the Discord real quick, and we'll let Anti-Ordinary catch us up even further. Then we're going to look at a different video, because we've got a few videos to hit tonight, and I hope you're with me for the long haul this evening, because I want to spend some time with my peeps before I take off out of town for a little bit for some family business. But here's where we're at. Basically, as you guys know, I needed a nice deep breath so I can get this huge summation out to you. As you know, over the last few months, the opinion of Steve McRae on the internet has completely changed. There are facets to the story that's creating a big picture of what's really going on behind the scenes. Luckily, in December, towards the end of December, and then through January, enough of the discovery was made going through old streams to bring us to a point where we now understand that this group isn't what they describe themselves as. Let me give you a few examples really quick. I'm going to give you the 1-minute version instead of the 10-minute catch-up. The main thing we discovered is that Steve is not credentialed. He doesn't have any type of education or training that is valid in what he says he is. He uses Nuke School as a advanced type of education that makes him some type of expert that you should listen to, that qualifies him for content. He doesn't produce any content, but because he went to Nuke School or because he did something else that you don't know about, there's some type of content he can provide you that gives you some perspective into the atheist world, the agnostic world, the Christian world, like when he said that all Catholics, anyone that's a Catholic is supporting the Catholic Church, and it makes them an RA, before a few months later defending a literal R, saying that he's not RA for defending the R guy, just all the Catholics are for going to church on Sunday. These types of things, combined with him doing the scam fundraiser and other scam fundraisers, caused people to look at the big picture. What are the qualifications of Rhetoric? What are the qualifications of Steve McRae to make them able to, do they give good content? Well, no. So what else do they do that would make us watch them? And what we found in looking deeper is this history of GoFundMe campaigns that you see on the screen. If you didn't tune into that show, it is on the RockAlot channel. It's a 10-minute edited video. Rhetoric and crew scammed $50,000 and asked for $100,000. Flatty debunking community defrauded. Uh-oh. We got an internet hiccup. We came out of it. Okay. So this is the thing that's led us into where we are now. Now, a lot of people were reluctant to come out and talk about what they knew about this group being a small pocket that formed around the Non Sequitur show. Essentially, you could sum it up by saying the people that supported Kyle were one group, and then there were some creators that supported Steve McRae that came from a thing that people called the GDC as another group. The scammers that you see on the screen and the money that they took and the repeat GoFundMe campaigns that defrauded this community all came from the people that came from the GDC. So, of course, a lot of people wanted to say, what is the GDC? Is it their group? Was it a different group? And we found that Steve McRae joined the GDC 6 to 8 years or even more after it was formed by a group of 80 to 300 to 500 to 2,000 people, however you look at it. This is important because after forming the GDC, or after he joined the GDC, he claimed to have formed it after a couple years went by and ended up stealing it, monetizing it before the Non Sequitur show. Now, this is important because when the new GDC that Anti-Ordinary has been doing hangouts on came up, people were surprised to see 100 people, 150, 200, 300 people watching the new GDC. If Steve's GDC is the real GDC, why is a GDC that just got started getting way better views than what that GDC gets on a normal basis on any type of topic that doesn't have to do with Steve McRae attacking Katie Joy Paulson, right? Anyway, long story short, with all of this that I just mentioned happening, it showed the people that you don't have to be scared of these guys. A creator named Prime Inc., who is a giant on fire creator, gets 1 million views base per video. Prime Inc. did a video that called out the doxer that Steve McRae supports. And then I did a video that called out Steve McRae as a doxer. Prime Inc. offered hard evidence on that doxing. The video now has 1.5 million views as of right now. And it called out the doxer and McRae for what they are there. McRae being a supporter of all of this blindly, and the doxer being a doxer that Steve McRae supports. My video went a little further to show you actual video evidence that Steve McRae also doxes people and does the same thing, and that's why he does support a known doxer. Knowing he knows he doxes, he watches him dox, he participates in the doxings, and still supports him and still keeps in contact with these people. Literally today, right now, as this stream is running, AT2 Productions and Steve McRae were streaming on his channel. AT2 Productions being a person that was recorded doxing, threatening people with their location. So, to go a step further, because these guys have been outed doing this, it's given a lot of people that have been they haven't said anything in years, the courage to come out and say, they can't scare me. They can't do anything to me. The things that we know about these guys are worse than anything that these guys have on anyone else that exists out there. The bullying, that's all you really need to fix a bully. Once a bully has been identified to a greater community as a bully, the bully loses its power. And doxing, threatening people by their location, a lot of the tactics that these guys use, like rallying people to mass flag, like Steve McRae was outed for with Sweet Heathen a couple days ago, trying to flag down the new GDC, all these things happening stripped them of their power. It showed people they aren't morally better than anyone. They're morally worse than anyone. They aren't better at talking about things. They aren't able to really call people out and do anything to people. And finally, more and more and more people from back then, either the GDC days talking about Steve stealing the GDC, or this guy coming out to talk about Red's rhetoric and his experience being his roommate and all the messed up things that Reds did. All of this is coming out to show everybody the truth of why we are finding that they have done $100,000 requested in GoFundMe money and fundraiser money in just the last couple years. This is the excuse for why all of this money was requested. How much did they end up making that we can track at this point? It's well over 50,000 at this point before people stopped counting and putting new things together. The numbers that's been settled upon that are easily provable: 100,000 requested, 50,000 raised. One little piece of information I want to give you that I talked about in this stream before now, so if you watched it up to now, skip ahead about a minute, is that, for the replay, is that this type of stuff is happening due to their lies. When they get up there and try to convince everybody that they are equal to credentialed, degreed people with degrees, that have credentials, that have education, that are experts, that know what they're talking about, when they get up there and try to convince you that they are content creators, regardless of if they put out content or not, when they get up there and try to convince you that they have a good job when they don't really have a good job, all of these things that they're doing have some factor into being able to take money from a community at a higher degree than they would be able to take money if they told the truth. It creates a persona, an image, a false image that you're dealing with people that wouldn't need to ask for money. Well, it turns out if Red's Rhetoric wants to do any of the stuff he's doing, he's not going to afford it on his paycheck. It turns out that the other people that have been asking for money so they can go to a hotel room and see Reds, all these people that are going and giving money to somebody that Steve McRae told him to donate to, all of these things that have happened is all based on these types of lies that fuel this persona that's there. And in the end, the biggest part, before I bring in Demi, I'm going to bring in Demi right now, so let me tag Demi. What is it? Tell me what it is, Christina. You got to type me a sentence of what it is, too, okay? When I'm streaming, you got to give me the info. Type me what it is, a short sentence. What was I saying? Anyway, we're going to bring in Demi. I was going to name one more thing. I'll just forget about it. Let me tag Demi and get Demi to jump in. Okay, Demi's in general. Give me 20 seconds. Okay, so we're going to bring Demi in. Let me see if I can pull that thing one more time to the front of my head. I had to do... then the next day after I called out this, I did a stream and I put up a video calling out the GoFundMe campaigns, literally putting the opinion out there. What did I ask for in this stream? What was my end point? It's just that they should come out and show people that they did do what they said they did with the money, if they want people to not consider this to be egregious, right? Now that's based on the logic of a GoFundMe or a fundraiser. If you tell people I'm going to go to Washington, D.C. and get a job there and my life will be better, but I just got to make it there, and they fund you for it, but you never show up, that's an issue. Because they gave you money expecting something that didn't happen. That's why the criticism is, go live, show that it's not a con. It'll make you guys look way better than it does now. The problem is, they can't show us that. They've got things like, let's see here, let's just pick a couple of them. For the Rhetoric's car fund, they could show us the receipts and the redacted receipts and the proof that this did get fixed at that time, right? Now it's weird because he ended up popping up with like a bunch of different cars that were damaged in different ways during this thing when they showed pictures on Steve's stream and Red's stream. I know that's weird, right? Then you've got Let's Riff YouTube Bullinator, Bullinator's new room, Brands Fund, how about Helping Sean, Veterans in Need with $20,000 is just insanity, considering you're not some type of organization that can take that kind of money from a community and help veterans. We need to still see that the $340 you took was used to help veterans and not just yourself. When we know it was used to help himself, it's already there. He hasn't done a thing to prove it one way or the other yet to then. This is a major discovery. No matter what, if it was discovered in a flat earth, let's say that JM Truth turns out he funneled all the traffic to this many fundraisers in the flat earth community. Red's Rhetoric would have called him out for it when he talked to him on his stream, just in his last stream. You know it's true. How do we know it's true? Because Red's literally said that JM Truth owed Reds a groveling apology because JM Truth said that his rocket launch recording was CGI. That demands a groveling apology. Saying that a rocket launch is CGI, a groveling. So Reds, you need to give your community a uber schmoober groveling apology for an hour and admit to all the things you did wrong, tell the truth, and apologize to them if it is true that JM Truth owes you an apology for saying your rocket launch is fabricated, because this is way worse than that. Or how about you, if you want to deny that you did anything wrong, just get you and your friends, the ones you were responsible for, the ones that you were engaged in with this, which is a lot of them that had to do with Hufford and AT2. How about you get up there and just show that it was some type of legit thing for each one, not just select ones. They won't do it, of course. They want to spend their time attacking me instead of doing some content, thus exercising my point against them. All right, let's get Demi in here and hear about what's going on with the roommate and what this video is. We're going to pull Demi in right now. Demi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me fine?
Great. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by.
I'm good, thank you. Are we live right now?
Yeah, we're live. Nope, we're 100% live still. Yep. I wanted to ask you because you... Yeah, say hi to everybody. We got Demi, y'all. You talked to Red's ex-roommate, I believe. Can you hook us up with a description of what's going on with that and what happened and everything? Because we're all a little confused and it's a little interesting.
Yeah, so I hit up Vincent and I'm asking him to see if he'll come talk to you about his side more in depth, and we'll see where that goes. I don't know. I don't think he seems very open to it, but we'll see.
All right.
When I came across this story, it was actually relating to the RA situation, and but I'm really not good at self-censoring myself, so that was a good one for me. So if I
You're
slip up on
fine.
saying that.
I'm not monetized here, so it's not that big. It's not as big as compared to Unirock 2, so you can say what you got to say. It's okay here.
So yeah, it was originally related to the RA situation, and I was just scrolling through Twitter and I saw people suddenly dragging Red's rhetoric, and I didn't really have all the context in the background and the history behind it, but Red seemed like a pathetic, driveling dog. So I just wanted to help him. I felt like he looked like he was backed into a corner. He had all of these people calling him out for shit, and I thought it seemed unreasonable. And one of the things they were calling him out for was ruining a funeral. But that was tangential to the rape apologetics thing. I think Reds or Steve or some person brought it up as a deflection in some way, and it spiraled out of control. So I do what me and you do, Uni, and we go look into shit, make videos and all that kind of spilling the tea. And so I went to Reds, and I did try to go and get a hold of anyone else that I could, and I didn't know anyone from that side of the community yet, so I wasn't able to. And I went to Reds, and in my video I made it pretty clear that this was essentially just Red's retelling of the event. I don't know how accurate it was, but it seems to be heavily disputed by Vincent from the GDC livestream earlier.
Definitely.
And Red's Rhetoric's version of events doesn't align with Vincent's version of events, but Red's Rhetoric's version of events goes as follows. And if I mess something up, that's me doing this off the top of my head. So,
no pressure.
Red's Rhetoric used to live with Vincent, and they used to share a house, and they also used to share a workplace. Now, Reds, according to Reds, Vincent wasn't a good housemate, and Vincent was relying on Reds for a lot. And because they shared a workplace and there were some tensions between Reds and Vincent, apparently, allegedly, according to Red's Rhetoric, but Vincent clarifies this earlier in the GDC, according to Red's Rhetoric, Vincent went into Red's Rhetoric's place of work and disclosed information about Red's Rhetoric's mental health. Now, when I asked Red's Rhetoric if that information was accurate, some of which was Red's Rhetoric felt depressed and things of that nature, and when I asked him if that was accurate, he said no, Vincent had flat out fabricated this mental health struggles of Red's. Now, of course, Vincent disputes that in the GDC, but that's what Red's Rhetoric claimed happened. And so, as a result of that, what Red said to me, as a result of that, he decided to move out of Vincent's house. Now, that left Vincent in the red, according to Vincent. Red disputes the financial severity of this situation. But regardless, Red moves out, and the community at large decide to start a GoFundMe for Reds. And no, not for Reds, sorry, start a GoFundMe for Vincent. And in this GoFundMe, Vincent uses not so nice ways of describing Reds, but he doesn't explicitly say Red's Rhetoric or Redline, whatever his name was at the time. And so there wasn't no direct reference to Red's Rhetoric, but people within the community that knew Reds and knew Vincent would probably know it was Reds and Vincent. So I understood why Reds might be upset about that representation if he didn't think it was accurate. And because of that, he saw the sides of the community that decided to support Vincent in this time as enemies to Red's Rhetoric. And so, because a lot of mutual friends donated to this GoFundMe, that scorned Red's Rhetoric enough. And I'm not quite sure on the details. Red's made a demand that it all be changed. It was a whole uproar. I can send you, I have a PDF of the original, I have a screenshot or a PDF of the original GoFundMe. I can send you, Uni, but you can Google
Yeah.
to get the updated version. But I do
Okay.
have the original version that Vincent provided me with earlier. And so that being that, Reds has got upset about that situation. And fast forward, a fellow creator in the community who I don't know and don't have background on, but you can watch the recent various GDCs today because we've had a lot of technical issues. There's a lot of them today. But you can watch them and get a bit of a background on who Jade was. But Jade was a member of this community and she passed away. And as a result of that, people decided to start organizing themselves to go to the member of the community's funeral, Jade's funeral. And Red's Rhetoric was a part of that. And Red's Rhetoric made a statement addressed to everyone, and it must have got lost in translation or understanding, or it wasn't passed on correctly. There's a whole number of reasons. We're not quite sure as to why the message wasn't put across properly. But in this message, Reds tells everyone that he's not going to interact with them. He wants them to respect his distance, and this isn't a slight on them. This is just him not wanting to interact on the funeral.
Yeah.
And when he's gone to this funeral, he has made it from his perspective, he didn't seem to think it was unreasonable. And the way he presented it to me also didn't seem unreasonable in my original video. So, but according to everyone else, that was in participation. And when I say everyone else, like I literally mean, Rock, everyone else I spoke to. Because I never spoke to anyone. I only spoke to Red's Rhetoric. But after having met a lot of people and spoken to a lot of people, there's not one person that sides with Red's Rhetoric's version of events. And so
Definitely.
everyone is in agreement that Red's Rhetoric was an out-and-out cunt on that trip. And that's where it spiraled into me making a video, because that's what people were claiming was ruining a funeral. And so I've messaged Reds. I've only got his side of the story, and I've made my video, which I've deleted now. I thought I unlisted it, but I just deleted it. I should still have the screenshots laying around, and I'm going to compile them and send them all to you in the morning or something.
Excellent. You can drop them in the current live stream room, but go ahead, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll definitely do that. And in those screenshots, Reds provides me with PayPal screenshots. And one of the key contentions Reds claims was that Vincent said he didn't pay his rent. And Vincent, on that live stream that you're watching, admits that that Red's Rhetoric did pay the rent and paid more, but that still didn't account for the financial damages that did to Vincent. And so I didn't know that, but I had these screenshots of the PayPal records that demonstrated Reds had paid for his rent. And essentially, that was it. If you boil it down, the reason that video is removed is mostly because of the RA stuff. I had lumped the Red's Rhetoric funeral stuff in with the RA stuff in kind of a stupid shoehorn way, and I wasn't comfortable with the video as a whole. But to boil it down, essentially, Reds had a falling out with his roommate. He moved out, left his roommate in the red. Roommate had a GoFundMe. That pissed Reds off. Then they went to a funeral. Reds pissed everyone else off at the funeral, and we're here divided. When Red's Rhetoric came back from this funeral, he went to Steve, and Steve and him became very close. And essentially, it was Reds and Steve and their communities vs the Great Debate community, if you want to call it that, or the wider YouTube community.
Okay, because I remember the funeral coming up as a point of contention. We were streaming on D Live, and people were trying to fill us in on what happened. Then a recording came out, and the thing that got me initially, and this is because when you, and like you've experienced this, when you're around Steve and Reds and these guys, and they are quote unquote aligned with you, they're very selective, in my opinion. They're very much, let's say, they're very careful about what information they give you, and they frame things in a way that the roommate just framed it. Like, that's Red's version of events. Well, the version I got was Red's just wanted to be left alone. Everybody wanted to bother him. So because people bothered him, there was a bunch of blow-ups and arguing and fighting. But then I found out quickly that that wasn't the case. That really what happened was Reds went there and basically forced himself into public situations around everybody else. Like he was the driver of a van. And like volunteered to drive this van while everybody else says, how are we supposed to not talk to you while you're the driver of the van? If you didn't want to be around us, don't be around us. Ride in a van, don't drive it. And it really showed me that I do think Reds is trying to create this problem with these guys, probably to make them look bad or to fight with them. But that's just my perception after hearing all of it. I haven't gotten deep in it, so.
Absolutely. I think part of it feels like Reds didn't want to back down. And everyone was going, and he didn't want to just not go simply because these people were going. He felt like that would be stepping down to them. But I kind of think it was a lot. There was a whole lot of manipulation. So there was this voice recording that, and when I was trying to cover this situation, I was in contact with a few of these people from the outside, and I did manage to get a hold of a recording. And so I put that in my video, and it was a secret recording. I think it's the Holy Speckle made, in which they're recording a confrontation between Osimo and Red's Rhetoric. I think it's Osimo, I'm not sure, I might be wrong on the people, but a group of people had a confrontation with Red's Rhetoric in which they invade his personal space, is no short way of putting it. And in this recording, it comes across as rather intimidating to me. It comes across as seeming like someone's bullying Red.
Me
but
too.
It's also quite light in that regard. So if you had the rest of the context of the situation, it may not come across that way. It's simply without the context, it comes across as harsh. But then when you take into account the opposite side of the story and Red's behavior, you can understand why someone would be frustrated. Maybe they didn't address it in the correct way, but it's still not as detrimental as it was presented to me to be.
And I feel the same way. And it feels like even though me and you didn't really interact back then when all this was an issue and all this information was coming out or being brought up again, we were both told the same thing from this side, and they used the same tactics to selectively give us information, probably hoping that we would make videos or bring it up in live streams or put the information out, and that way it gets filtered to the community through that based vision of us when we don't even know that we're based to begin with. Like, because that's one thing that Michelle said today that I felt resonated extremely well in the video that she did. She talks about Steve, I believe it was, talked about Steve giving her like certain pieces of information, but then later on she finds out that it was not the way that it was presented and asked to do certain things like reach out to creators and ask these creators to make a video. And it's like, why didn't you just do it, Steve, if you wanted these people to do that? I think it's that tactic is what's coming. That tactic is becoming obvious, the way they put out information so that it would be this us versus them mentality. Because once you create the us versus them mentality, then you can play the sides. And maybe that's why you always hear Drag say, if you go listen to his streams, that they don't do sides there. They don't do the us versus them thing. At first, when I heard him say that, I'm like, yeah, right, man, you do too. But then I realized really quickly what Drag was saying, and I think this is what Drag was saying. This whole concept is an example of it, you know?
Yeah, I definitely think, I do think it's transparent, and I would recommend anyone to go and watch Sarah Michelle's recent video. It's a really good video, and it was hard for her to come to terms with and figure out herself, and I'm friends with her, so I was kind of there in the background seeing her try to figure this out, and I'm really proud of how she did the video. But yeah,
it's a great video.
Yeah, it's a really good video, and it's not an hour long like one of mine, so people can actually sit through it.
Mine too. So how do you feel now? You know, this new stuff coming out, where are you at? You know what I'm saying? Where are you at in your mind handling the info? Because I don't want to be biased. I don't want to be mean to any of the people on Steve's side either. I want to give him a fair shake. I want them to look the way they look. I want them to look bad if they were looking bad. I want them to look good if they were looking good. Where do you sit right now in your mind, getting all this new information, seeing everything again, working it out? Are you still in the same place you were a couple weeks ago?
I'm definitely not, but I just want to highlight a piece of Red's behavior before I get into that, because straight after I made my video, I had sat there with him for literally 2 days, and like you said in your video, and I was spamming it in chat saying, oh my god, Reds did this to me. I'd never known Reds, never even spoken to him before my video, and I say that in the video, and he just divulged so much personal information to me.
Oh, wait a minute, I didn't see you spamming that. He did that to you too?
Yeah.
Describe it to me.
We would sit there for hours. He would tell me about his emotional standing and his mental health standing and things like that. And he would say how these topics are impacting him, and it would be so long-winded, and it would be resemblant of someone you'd sit there and talk with like a friend. You know, if you're actually friends with someone, you'll sit there and talk with them for a long-ass time. That was what it kind of reminded me of, except from I don't know this person at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. And that's the thing. That's what I said to Rachel when he called me. I said, he talked to me like I'm his best friend. That's one of the things I said to her after the call, but it's like, I've never really talked to him that much. Only a few conversations up to then, you know, like really weird. So it's crazy you had that same experience.
And I remember before, this is tangential, but I remember before the blow up between you and Reds that you actually was confused about where you should stand with Reds, because you said that to me. You asked me, what do I think of Reds? So
yeah,
I can imagine that's one of the reasons that put you in that position.
Of course.
But, so I sat there with him making my video for 2 days, recorded it, made it on the 3rd day, edited it, put it out. And then that same night that I put it out, Reds... bear in mind, he essentially helped me make the whole video because I only had his testimony. He jumped onto Twitter and said to the whole community, I'm so tired of this drama. I don't want to be involved in this. Stop talking about it. Stop including me. I don't want any part in this. And I was just like, you're throwing me under the bus after sitting... Literally. And so this comes back to when I exposed them for weaponizing sexual assault. So I go onto Twitter, I see him throwing me under the bus after literally basically making this video with me. And so then I go and DM him and Cheshire, and I'm like, listen, I'm not fucking with this, so if you don't correct that, I'm coming for him. And then he corrected it, and I was like, well, that's a really decent person thing to do. Let me go and say that to him. And so it comes to the rape apologetics situation. He took some texts I made to him in regards to him throwing me under the bus and took them out of context to make me look irrational and emotional, to discredit my argument against the rape apologetics and to discredit my argument against weaponizing sexual assault. And in that message, I simply say to Red something along the lines of, thank you, sorry if I blew up or I was being too emotional about this. I just wanted you to